The following is a presentation of the IHSA Television Network. The Rockford Boylan Titans are here in the house taking on the cadets of Marmion Academy in Aurora. Neither team, neither program has ever won a state championship. One, two, three, go! An absolutely perfect afternoon for high school football here in Champaign as we bring you our 6A state championship game here on the IHSA TV network. It's Rockford Boylan taking on Marmion Academy for the 6A state championship. Hello and welcome to Champaign. Thanks for joining us today. Hope you survived Turkey Day and Black Friday real fine. I'm Lee Hall along with former NFL head coach Rick Venturi. And coach, another kind of clash in styles here as it's 13-0 Rockford Boylan taking on Marmion Academy at 12-1.
Two Catholic schools close to one another, but you got a wide open Boylan offense in the spread, and you got a meat grinder coming with Marmion, so it'll be fun to watch.
All right, we should have a good one here. It's Boylan and Marmion for the 6A state championship. We'll have the kickoff right after this on the IHSA TV network, brought to you by Country Financial. Marmion set to kick off. A.J. Friedman to kick off for Marmion, and deep for Boylan. It's Vines catching it, and it goes into the end zone, and will be a touchback for Boylan. Let's check out Aaron Bennett down on the sidelines. Aaron.
Hey, Lee, I just had a chance to catch up with the head coach from Marmion. He says, listen, we've got the size advantage. Boylan has the speed. We have to be overpowering with our size advantage, and we have to limit their speed and be careful to not give up any big plays. Let's head over to Sophia Minute with a look at Boylan.
Guys, Boylan head coach Dan Aprino said before the game that we'll continue rotating our quarterbacks. Frank Semino and Lamont Tony, he said that we will rotate them every other play unless we go to the hurry-up offense, then we'll rotate them every other series. He said fumbles have been an issue for his team all season, so he was concerned about that. Defensively, he says it's going to be a busy day for his linebackers. They're going to show a lot of blitz packages. Guys, back up to you.
Sophia and Aaron, thank you very much. A first down run by Tyrese Thomas, the junior running back. Good for 2 yards, Rick Venturi, and brings up 2nd and 8 for Boylan.
Boylan in their spread. Again, the quarterback rotation.
This is Tony at quarterback. He'll get it outside and get out across the 25-yard line. Lose the
Ball's
football.
On the ground.
And did Boylan get it back?
Yeah, they hung on to it. Hung on to it.
Titans get it back after the fumble by Tony. Lamont Tony is a 6-foot junior. He will rotate at the quarterback position with number 12, Frank Semino, a 6'2 senior.
And Tony's a little bit more of a wildcat type quarterback. A few more designed runs for him. Semino is a little bit more all-purpose.
3rd and 5 here in the opening moments of our 6A state championship game.
Thomas and Miller are a big play, guys. You got to watch them the whole game.
Now Semino at quarterback, throws to the outside, has a man.
There's Thomas.
And he's very close to the first down.
Very elusive. Catches a little swing pass. Should have been stopped. Ends up making a first down.
Tyrese Thomas, 1,400 yards receiving, 12 touchdowns. He averages 9.5 yards every time he catches the football for Dan Aprino.
They run the trap game to him, Lee, and then they'll use number 1, Miller. They'll use him all kinds of ways, bring him back in the backfield, hand it off. But those two guys are explosive players.
Tony at quarterback, keeps it.
See, a lot more designed runs for Tony. When Tony's in the game, a lot of those are designed runs, so they do a good job. I've never seen anybody change them up play by play, but they managed to get it done.
You know, Peoria Richwoods did this a lot down the stretch, Coach, and a lot of times Coach Webb, the offensive coordinator there, said a lot of times you have two quarterbacks, you don't have one quarterback. But this has worked for them, and it works for Boylan as well.
No question about it.
2nd and 6.
Now there's the trap, and they'll pull the guards and the tackle. Now we also have a treat today. I think one of the finest players that I've seen on tape in a long time is TJ Lally, the middle linebacker, running back. He does everything but take tickets for Marmion. The kid is a great football player, a throwback, look like the guy out of the 50s. It looks like he can do everything.
3rd and 3.
He's playing the middle linebacker position.
The Titans look like the Fighting Irish from the Joe Montana days out there.
Yeah, they really do. They really do.
Tony will look to throw and now make a play on his own.
And he does.
Gets the first
Great
down
play.
and more out near midfield to the 46-yard line. It was Mike Shares finally bringing him down for Marmion Academy.
I think what's incredible, I would have a hard time keeping track of that. I really would call them plays with two different guys because they really, even though they're both really good athletes, they're different. They're a little bit different skill set.
Semino back in at quarterback now on 1st and 10. Man in motion gets the carry. That's Einhorn.
And that's the speed sweep to Einhorn. You know, that's one of their key plays. Inside traps to Thomas, and then bring those wide receivers back in there for the speed sweep. It's been a long time for Boylan. They got a big following down here from Rockford. You know, I played 3 years there at Rockford Auburn High School, and I'm old enough to say I was there when Boylan opened the doors in the early 60s.
Yeah, they're celebrating their 50th year anniversary this year. They won a 3A soccer championship in the boys, and they'd like to celebrate again here with a state championship in 6A football. Tony, not much there.
Not
Boy,
much there.
The Marmion
Good
defense stepping up.
I actually played there for one of the legendary coaches, the great Ben Murray, who was there for years in baseball and football and helped to build that program what it is. Was one of my early mentors. Ben
Murray, the coach, when Boylan made their only other state championship game appearance. That was in 1975.
Right.
They lost to Deerfield 14-7. Dan Apino was a freshman and attended that game. The head coach now for the Titans. Semino back to throw, looking deep down the middle, has a man. It's Einhorn, it's complete, and first down just outside the red zone at the 21-yard line. 31 yards on the completion from Semino to Einhorn.
It's just amazing to me how that Boylan operates that quick tempo offenses, changes quarterbacks and receivers. And they maximize the ability of both guys. Semino key passes, and now we come back with the run.
Lamont Tony.
With Lamont Tony.
He's in the shotgun. He is their throwing quarterback, Coach Thorpe says. Pino says, rather. But he has thrown it well down the stretch. Another completion to Einhorn.
Yep. Well, the good news is Boylan will utilize both guys to do different things so that you can't just play them one way. And again, keep your eye on Miller and Thomas. Those guys have broken plays for them when it counts.
Aaron Einhorn, the 5'8" senior.
Love that trap inside. Love that trap inside to Thomas. You'll see the guard and tackle pull. There's the tackle pull right there.
Fumble.
Ran it from behind. Big stop, big fumble. Forced
the Cadets
fumble.
Pick it up. Mike Shares there to fall on the loose bumpkin. All right, this is network break number 2. And the 2010 IHSA Football Championships are brought to you by Country Financial. After the turnover, we get our first look at the Marmion Academy offense.
And this is a sledgehammer. They shift over to unbalanced.
TJ Lally.
Here comes Lally.
He's the man for the Cadets. He gets outside. And a big pickup there and a first down out at the 37-yard line, a gain of 17.
That's a pretty interesting concept. Now they shift the tackle over. Glasgow, the big number 75, and Boylan was late to adjust over there, and bam, they ran. We've seen that twice today in the course of 2 games where you get a little bit of edge in the running game with an unbalanced line. Here it is again, shifting 75. Now you see 4 guys to that side of the ball.
Bobby Peters is the quarterback for Marmion. The Cadets out of the eye. They're 12-1. Peters back to throw, some pressure, and he throws it away. And that very easily could have been grounding.
Real close.
It wasn't. I didn't see anybody in a white jersey out there.
Really close.
Dan Thorpe's team might have gotten a little bit of a break there. And again, we want to start off by saying, and Dan Thorpe asked us to mention this, it's Marmion Academy. It's not Marmion Military Academy.
I read the directive. I had to laugh because I used to recruit it and thought it was a military.
Here's the run around to the near side. Ryan Riggs with the carry. Check that. Mitch Lohman, the senior, 5'11" senior, Mitch Lohman. Pickup of 12. Some room to run so far for the Cadets.
They are very sharp running the ball. They're not just physical. They're a very physical team, but they do a lot of little nuances to get edges on you. The unbalanced line, speed there. Now they got 3 to one side and an eye.
TJ Lally, Garrett Becker in the eye. Lally, their leading rusher,
there
right up the gut.
When they run that lead, when they're in the I formation, they're going to run a lot of lead plays. Becker blocking for Lally, and then you can't go to sleep on Becker because he'll get that ball and he'll burst through there, and he'll show a lot more speed than you think. Really talented team. To me, it's a bit of a three-headed monster. I also like Solari. They'll use him different ways. They'll use him as a wideout. They'll bring him back in the backfield, and they really know what they're doing. And they love that mixture of unbalanced line. And that left side is big. The Glasgow brothers over there, that is a wall on that left side.
Whistle and a timeout for Marmion. No score here. We are well into our first quarter of the 6A State Championship. The IHSA Football Championships brought to you this year by Country Financial. Welcome back to Champaign and Memorial Stadium. Marmion and Boylan scoreless here in our first quarter. The Cadets putting together a drive here. And the give is to Becker. He's met right at the 40-yard line. Big hit there by Chris Miller on the Boylan defensive side of the ball.
But that's a little change-up. They ran what we call a wham on the nose guard, where the wingback comes in and clips the nose. The nose can't even see him coming. And then Becker hits in there real quick behind him.
How do you see all that?
41 years.
I'm glad you're here. 1st and 10, Marmion. Peters the give to Lally. TJ Lally, 1,264 yards on the season coming into this game.
You know, as I said, as we led into the game, he's one of the most fun guys to watch in football because he plays it the old-fashioned way. He's going to run it. He's got deceptive speed. He runs faster than you think he can. He can throw it. He can catch it. Plays defense all day. Really special high school football player.
5 minutes to go here. Fast-moving first quarter.
Slip unbalance again.
Lally to the outside. Has some room to run. Makes a little extra room for himself. And if you don't believe me, just ask Chris Miller, who took a pretty big hit. Lally is 6'1", 215, a little bit like one of the young men we saw yesterday from Lena Winslow, Trey Griffin. He's kind of like a linebacker, defensive end at running back.
He really is, and yet he's a little deceptive. I've seen him break plays. He's a little more elusive than the body type looks. He's pretty interesting guy, really.
3rd and 1 for the Cadets. Lally jumps over a lineman and gets the first down. TJ Lally showing a little bit of that athleticism, Coach.
And what they do is they put that big Glasgow 75, ends up being a tight end in that set on that I-2, and that's that Glasgow wall on that side, and they just wall you off and feed the beast in that sense. This is exactly what I expected. This reminds me of old Kirk Becker, who's on the staff offensively, who I tried to recruit, who played at Michigan in the Bears. This looks like Bo Schembecker football.
Ninth play, 54 yards on this drive. Thanks to Dave Berkson, our stat man here in the booth. Peters running, had pressure from behind. He didn't know was there. And pass interference will go against Chris Miller. The intended receiver was Nick Scolari, number 3 for Marmion Academy, and there was contact before the ball came in.
And that's what they like to do. They'll run, get you really off balance, get you thinking, run, and then throw that little play action in the seams or in the corner patterns. Miller had a great break on that. Unfortunately, he got there a little quick. The one thing that Miller will play with as good a range as any safety I've seen in the high school level. He will make plays.
Pass interference.
One thing that Boylan will end up doing here, they're going to end up, they'll get in that 5-3 stack, and they'll try to stop that inside game. And what they'll do is they'll stop that inside game and expect Miller to run things down on the outside. Basically, that's how they play. Another, just all kinds of different little sets to run the ball. A lot of people use sets in football to open their passing game. This is a team that goes the other way. They use all their nuances, set up the run. Whether it's unbalanced, whether it's wing backs, whether it's flat backs as we see right now, and they create a lot of angles for themselves.
Okay, they didn't have the football marked exactly right. You talked about Kurt Becker, assistant coach for Marmion. Let's take a quick look. He was on that 85 Bears team. That's him on the ground. Walter Payton breaking Jim Brown's rushing record. That's Coach Becker right there on the field, making a block for him and getting things done. And Coach Thorpe talked about what he has meant to this program as they take it in for the score. Nick Scolari with the 13-yard touchdown run, and Marmion is on the board first.
That's the three-headed monster. The 3 backs back in there, all of them are excellent at what they do. They block that run, and that's their version of the buck sweep, the buck series. Everybody's run it to some degree in the last 4 games, and everybody has a little version. There it is again. Fake the buck inside. Here come the guards. Scolari gets right on the hip of that back guard and then powers it in. This is a physical football team at Marmion.
A.J. Friedman with the point after, 49 of 53 on the year for A.J. Friedman. Nick Scolari takes in the touchdown run and gives the Cadets the early 7-0 lead over Boylan. The 2010 IHSA Football Championships are brought to you by Country Financial. And welcome back to Champaign Memorial Stadium. Lee Hall along with former NFL head coach Rick Venturi. Marmion, the 7-0 lead over Boylan, and it was a pretty good drive there by the Cadets. Lally with 38 rushing yards to lead the way for the Cadets. This is Miller bringing it out for the Titans and across the 20, down at about the 23. That's Chris Miller, the 5'11 senior, return of 22 yards. He took a little bit of a beating there defensively and recovers to have a nice little run back there. Let's take a look quickly at the road to Champaign. For Rockford Boylan, they beat our friend Paul Parpet and Addison Trail 31-7 in round 1. Richards 34-12, an overtime game against Cary Grove. They won 20-14 and a tough-fought win against Prairie Ridge in the semifinals. Here's Cimino keeping it himself for the carry on 2nd down.
And that's the quarterback read off the spread. He has the handoff, and if the end closes, the defensive end that is, he can keep that ball. That's an option.
Check it, that makes it 2nd down and 6. Cimino stays in there for the next play as well. And he finds his man,
Miller, outstanding. Like I said, a wild card guy. He'll be a factor before it's all over. One thing we saw, though, right off the bat, both teams are establishing themselves for what they are. Quick tempo, and then the meat grinder on the other side. Marmion was a meat grinder. What a drive.
Cimino staying in now. He's been in on every play on this drive.
There's the elusive Thomas.
Thomas with the rush for 1st down yardage.
Thomas is very quick in the hole, very quick feet. You'll think you'll have him, and he'll make that real quick slashing move and get through there. Really spread out. They really spread out the box.
Boylan going with 1 quarterback so far on this drive. And that is Einhorn on the near sideline. And he picks up about 7. Call it 8 and make it 2nd down and 2 for the Titans.
Einhorn, a really solid wingback. He'll catch the ball, he'll come back in and block, he'll carry it. Again, they got him really spread out in that 3-by-1 wide.
Here's the give to Thomas. Oh,
Look at
a little
that
spin move on the eye, and he's down to the 34-yard line.
He has great feet, and he has that natural spin move. We've seen that many times. Terrific move, and what they're doing, they're widening the box. Watch Marmion put 3 guys out there, 2 guys down here. So those traps and everything, they're running against 6 men in that box.
Pickup of 20 for Tyrese Thomas. Cimino still in at quarterback. He's going to keep it himself. And picks up a couple, but not much there. Mike Carbonera in on the tackle for Marmion.
That's the one thing I think we see in Boylan more than the last 2 spreads, is that you see a lot of design quarterback runs. They're definitely power plays, sweep plays, inside plays. So again, he's like the 12th man.
That rotating quarterback spot, Coach, it's all Cimino this drive.
All Cimino, yep.
He gets it out to Einhorn in the flat, makes a move, and is brought down at the 31-yard line. Check that. Let's see, where do they mark it? It'll be the 31. Pickup of 6 there. And we've got a player down for Marmion.
Einhorn's a slick little all-purpose player. He can play that wing. He'll come back and do a lot of things. Catch the ball, good elusive one cut there.
Mitch Lohman is a player down for Marmion. You look at this Boylan offense, and they just rack up the rushing yards, Coach. 398 against Rockford East, 377 against Belvedere North, 375 against Rockton Hononegah. And then Coach Apino says that was probably close to our best game. 324 in the playoffs against Addison Trail. I mean, they have really put up some big numbers this year.
They're different. They're different than the last 2 spreads. In the last 2 spreads that we've seen, they're pass-first offenses. Their quarterbacks, they will run it, but they won't run it with any real regularity. In the Boylan offense, in the Boylan spread, the quarterback is like the running back. It's almost like a 2-back offense within the spread. See, they're going to use the quarterback and Thomas, if you think of it almost as a 2-back offense, which makes it difficult. And that's where they differ a little from the regular spread teams.
Lohman is up and walking off under his own power, a little gingerly, but makes it to the sideline. It's 3rd and 2 now for Boylan.
They're actually, Lee, they're a little bit more patterned after the quack attack, the Oregon offense in the college ranks. A little bit more quarterback run option.
And they draw the cadets offside.
Defense, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Our officials here today: Bill Book, Bob Edwards, Ken Odie, Ray Demerit, and Gary Gain. Congratulations to them. Most of them, all of them actually, from the Fairfield area. First and 10. Cimino back to throw and has it knocked down at the line of scrimmage. He was looking downfield for Einhorn in the end zone.
Big 3rd down. They're right on the ball.
I was looking downfield at the receiver. Looked like he it was either a knuckleball or he changed up his mind, is what I used to tell my mother. I changed up my mind. Cimino keeps it himself. He's down inside the 10, still on his feet.
Huge
reaches
play.
in. Touchdown, Boylan.
Again, that's a quarterback design. Inside play, off the fake, off the belly fake inside. He takes it up. It affects a counter.
21 yards for Frank Cimino, his 8th rushing touchdown of the year.
There it is. He's going to fake it underneath. Then he's going to follow the guard. A design, basically a design counter for the quarterback. Again, the Boylan spread is appropriately much like the quack attack of the Oregon Ducks. in the same colors, the same green.
Yeah, they don't have the feathers on their jerseys.
They don't have the feathers, but they're running the offense the same.
Joe Rose, the point after for Boylan, and we are tied at 7, 1:12 to go in the first quarter. There's a look at Frank Cimino. Talked about the rotating quarterbacks, and Cimino's within there for the whole drive.
Yeah, they settled in there. They settled in. This first quarter, like you say, is fast. We're a minute from the end of the first quarter, and what you've seen is two teams totally different in personality establish themselves with great execution, and both go up and down the field. You know, other than the one fumble, both teams have just gone up and down the field, and I think you're gonna really, it depends on what you really like about football. You're gonna see all ends of it in this game.
Frank Cimino, the 21-yard run to even things up. 9 plays, 77 yards, and they did it in just 2:28.
Yeah, that was a great answer to the long drive by Marmion. The kind of the meat grinder effect. You know, you tend to get on your heels. Boylan, you know, they rose to the occasion. They came right back after him. I don't know. Cimino looked pretty good on that drive. You know,
sure did.
He really did. They established a little bit more continuity, and they went with it.
Sean Slattery, the kickoff. Nick Scolari will bring it out. He tries to hurdle the pile and does, out across the 25 to the 26-yard line. Return of 23 for Nick Scolari, the 6'2", 205-pound senior.
Yeah, he's an impressive guy as well. These three backs at Marmion mean business. They're heading north and south, and if you're in their way, they're going to try to run through you.
Well, he got sandwiched and hit from the front too. That's tough duty, isn't it?
You love that recklessness, though, when you're taking that kickoff back. There's no sense of dancing. Get that doggone thing up and go. Now we're back to the eye. A lot of lead plays here.
Trips
motion
receiver
out of
right.
it. Yep.
Here's Lally. And read very well that time by the Boylan defenders.
Really good play by James. Sam James, a very good football player, really good athlete, basketball player. Good job right there.
Like Connor Slipkovich in there as well. Under a minute to go now, first quarter, 7-all, Marmion and Boylan. 2nd and 13 now for the Cadets. Lally in motion. And the give is to Carbonera. And he's out across the 30.
Good job by Carbonera. Now that's what I thought would happen. Boylan's starting to get in that 5-3 stack and starting to stunt that inside. So you're getting a lot of bodies in there. So you want to be able to bounce that ball outside, because they're going to make it hard for you to run inside. I don't think they're going to let Big Lally make it up inside.
Pickup of 10. Rushing yards, 74 yards each. Identical. 74 yards for Marmion, 74 yards rushing for Boylan. 7 points each after 1 quarter. We're back after this. The 2010 IHSA Football Championships are brought to you by Country Financial. Ready to start the second quarter. It's 3rd and 3 for the Cadets of Marmion Academy. Here's Lally. He's got that and more. Out to the 40-yard line. Pickup of 7 for TJ Lally, the 6'1" senior. Broke his hand against Mundelein in week 2. Played with a cast for several weeks, but it didn't slow this guy down.
No, and Boylan, as I anticipated, is getting in those 3-man stacks, that 3-3, and they're doing a lot of stunting inside. So look for Marmion to get the ball on the edge. You see how they're stacked in there tight.
Here's the handoff inside. This is Carbonera, and he picks up about 3. You talk about these coaches, Dan Apino for Boylan and Dan Thorpe for Marmion Academy, and they are both counselors at their school. So they both go to the same meetings in Illinois during the school year, and when they have downtime during those counseling sessions, they compare notes. They're drawing plays on napkins and that kind of thing, and you know, they hit each other for information. So that's kind of an interesting thing. They're friends, but going at it here today. Carbonera out near midfield and just short of a first down on 3rd down. That'll bring up
That's it. That's interesting because football coaches can't help themselves. They can't get away from the game.
No.
Now, in terms of their football approach, both of them very, very good football coaches, thoroughly understand what they're doing. But they're very, very different. I mean, they're alter egos in terms of system.
Well, Coach Thorpe asked for guidance on how to defend Prairie Ridge's option, and Coach Apino says he milked me pretty good.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
Of course, they play Prairie Ridge this year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So. 3rd and 1, and a timeout. Something wasn't right there. The center reached back around and tapped Bobby Peters and said, "Hey, I don't like the lineup here." So they're going to take a break to talk things over, and we're going to take a timeout as well. 2010 IHSA Football Championships brought to you by Country Financial.
They're stacked up in there tight for this short yardage play.
3rd and 1 for Marmion near midfield.
Now they overshifted to that unbalance. That's the first time they actually overshifted.
Here's Lally. He has a gap and a first down.
He is a load. He will bring it up in there.
That was interesting, Coach. Mike Zolfo, the center, kind of reached around and tapped Peters before that play went off. They called timeout, and then they got the right call here to T.J. Lally.
One thing Boylan does, and I think it's a great utilization. I don't think Miller gets enough credit at free safety. They'll stack the inside, and they'll expect him to run down perimeter plays. I've seen that in the games I've watched, and he's very good at it. Again, they're really heavily stacked inside.
Already 46 yards for Lally. Peters looking to throw, has a man at the 30. That's Carbonera. He's down to the 20-yard line. Pickup of 27 on the pass by Bobby Peters. He's thrown for 1,067 yards coming into the game.
Carbonera, another outstanding all-purpose player, wingback type player. And what I think Marmion does a really nice job. They will throw very efficiently, and a lot of plays into the seams, just behind the linebackers, underneath the safeties. Now here comes a shift over. They go from unbalanced back to balance now.
8th play of the drive for Marmion. Carbonera with the carry down near the 15-yard line. He had a touchdown in the win over Lamont in the quarterfinals. 31-20 was the final in that ball game. Marmion Academy never been to the state championship game in football. Second and 5 here for the Cadets.
Unbalanced left. You got the Glasgow wall over here to the left. Here they come.
Lally gets outside the tackles. He's still on his feet at the 5. Steps in for the touchdown, and it's another touchdown for T.J. Lally, 16 yards on the carry.
Miller tried to arm tackle him coming through, and that isn't going to work. This is a man's man now with the ball. This guy will take that ball, get it north and south. He's faster than you think he is, Lee.
17th touchdown of the year. Kind of a John Riggins type.
He
That's
really
who I think of.
I thought the same thing when I looked at it. Very much, he's just a miniature Riggins. I'm same kind of guy. Just when you think that he's just a plugger, he's running by you. I just said this when I watched this kid.
Blocked.
I thought he was one of the most fun guys to watch, just because of everything that he does for a football team. Now he's going to turn around and play middle linebacker and make all the tackles. So, I mean, just a really special guy.
Old school. You like that, don't you?
I really do. I really do.
There's a look at T.J. Lally, the senior.
You're seeing some real efficient offense on both sides of the ball. Both teams. I can't say enough about them. Again, they're very different on offense, but they're very efficient. Both coaches totally on top of what they're doing, totally understand their concepts. The kids understand it. Really fun to watch.
Looked like Grant Flodine got a hand on that point after try for Boylan.
Grant has been a real productive guy for the Titans all year long.
So it's 13-7, Marmion with the lead. Touchdown for T.J. Lally and a touchdown for Nick Scolari. All scoring drives took 9 plays, so teams being pretty patient with their offenses. That ball rolling loose at the 25 and picked up there. Aaron Einhorn with the
he's going to break through here on the left side. Going to beat the safety. Safety comes up, arm tackle. No way, not going to happen. You got to get that hit. You got to get that shoulder in there and get that hit across the bow.
Well, the Titans try to answer, coming back into the sun, down 13-7 with 8:45 to go here in the second quarter of action of our 6A state championship game. And that's Tony back in there at quarterback, Lamont Tony. And then the question comes, well, if they don't move the ball here, do you go back to Semino and just let him play, or do you keep rotating?
Yeah, I would have a tough time with a quarterback rotation. I can see it by series. I certainly have trouble with it play after play. But, you know, Coach Apino knows his players, know his team. They've grown accustomed to it. And, you know, you got to live and die with it.
Tony's pass incomplete there, intended for Chris Miller. Brings up 3rd down and 10 now for the Titans. Tony calling out the play. Back to throw. And he has a gap and runs right up the gut and is pretty close to a 1st down for Boylan on 3rd and 10. Will depend on the spot.
And that's the real danger of playing against Tony. If you give a lot in the coverage and any crack at all now, he can run it.
It is a 1st down.
He can take it and go with it.
He's coming off a 52-yard rushing day against Prairie Ridge in the semifinals, and a touchdown in that ball game to get the Titans to their 2nd state championship in school history.
And it's back to Thomas now. Back to Thomas with the tackle pull.
It's about 4 yards.
Again, what they're doing out there, they're putting 3 to this side, 1 to that side, and they basically have the run called unless the box gets loaded. So as long as Marmion's back covering with a lot of people outside, you'll have a lot of inside runs.
Tony on the run. Nowhere to go that time.
Actually, he had the play call. He had the little drive screen coming in, but he didn't like it. He didn't like the coverage, so he's not going to waste much time. He's going to use his athleticism. When in doubt, he's going to go.
Look at Tyler Boyd. He was blocked, and he ran down Tony. Nice job by the big fella. Tyler Boyd, 6'1", 245. Tony rolling left, looking deep. Looking for a man, has a man. It's in for a score for Boylan. Jackson Meister, a junior off the bench, with the touchdown catch for Rockford Boylan.
Oh, he caught him. He got him to over-pursue the rollout. They all were worried about Miller coming on the corner pattern. They slipped in behind on the post.
54 yards, Tony to Jackson Meister. Had to look down the sheet to find Meister, but Lamont Tony didn't have any trouble finding him.
Real nice job by Tony. He was looking to Miller originally. His eye control was there, and I think he brought the Marmion defense with eye control, but had the presence to come back, find the post open, got a nice throw on it, didn't overthrow it, made sure it was catchable. Nice job.
Joe Rose, the point after. That's the difference so far. 14-13. Boylan takes a 1-point lead. The 2010 IHSA Football Championships brought to you by Country Financial. There's the green suit, guys. I hope that's warmer than it looks. 14-13. Boylan with the edge. They're excited. They don't care how cold it is. They're young, and their team's up by 1. Look at that kickoff. Driving it into the end zone is Sean Slattery, big number 99, with the big boot. Here's another look at that Boylan touchdown.
Again, it's
Jackson Meister from Lamont Tony.
Left, a rollout to the left. He's looking for Miller in the corner, but they let Meister go, and he comes right back. A nice throw by Tony. Good job. There's a tendency to overthrow that ball when you got a guy wide open in the post. He kept the poise, and he got it there.
The Jackson Meister with the touchdown catch. 7:08 to go here, second quarter.
Now we come back to the
TJ Lally with a good game, but coughs it up. And taking it back for Boylan. Number 19 picks it up and carries it back. That's the lineman, Sam James, all-conference lineman. He was in the right place at the right time.
He sure was. Good hustle. Good hustle. Got yardage. Ball in the right hand. Got punched out.
Bounces right to him.
Right to him.
Sam James.
Sam is a very good athlete. He's a guy who plays basketball there. He's a real good athlete. Big play for the Titans. I think we have a penalty here on the run after he got it. Yep.
Got a block in the bag during the return. 10-yard penalty from the spot. First down.
Right now, if you like offense, don't blink because you're going to get a you're going to get a good play every play, both sides.
You won't see that young man, T.J. Lally, cough it up very much.
And that was another really good play by Flodine. He came across there and stripped that ball out. Again, he's been a top guy all year long. There's that inside trap.
Thomas still on his feet down inside the 30-yard line.
Thomas is impressive now. He's got those quick feet. He's got drive, and then he's got that spin move to break it. There's a very talented team, both sides of the ball on offense.
13 yards for Tyrese Thomas. Dan Apino says he's got great moves. He makes that first guy miss. He's our go-to guy for tough yards. He picked up 13 that time.
Now here comes Firmino. See, and this is just like a power sweep.
Yep.
Again, this is very difficult to defend because it's hard to account for the quarterback. You don't, when a quarterback hands the ball off, you don't account for him. All of a sudden, he's handing off to himself in a sense. He's the tailback in the offense, along with the top running back right behind him.
Boy, and that that rotating quarterbacks has worked quite well for Boylan to this point. Semino.
It really has.
Back in there, the give to Thomas.
There's Thomas. It's
cuts
gone.
at the 20, down inside the 10. Touchdown, Tyrese Thomas, 24 yards on the score. His 13th rushing touchdown of the season.
Tyrese Thomas is a handful. We've seen that in the playoffs. Elusive, quick feet, and tough.
Watch the moves he makes on this run. A nice little move there. Boy, he left that guy in his dust. Another one.
Again, another example of the top players on each team rising to the occasion on the biggest stage in high school football.
Extra point, no good. So we've seen one blocked and one hooked, and it's 20-13. Boylan with the lead. Marmion had one block. Boylan hooks one, and it's a 7-point ball game with 6:34 to go in the second. The explosiveness of Tyrese Thomas and the great moves on that run, Coach.
We may need another scoreboard before this one's over. I'll tell you what, this is a fun day. I thought it would be. I liked both offenses. I knew they were dramatically different from one another, but both awesome, both in their own way. But Thomas, as you say, Thomas is a terrific player. I thought so coming in. He actually looks quicker in person. Actually looks a little bit quicker than what I saw on tape.
Both teams taking advantage of early turnovers. If you're a defensive coordinator, are you pulling your hair out at this point?
Right now, you're about ready for the radio booth. You know, yeah, defensive coordinator. That's in the National Football League. I think they go through about 20 a year. So,
yeah, not. That's a thankless job. Sean Slattery again. He kicked one through the end zone last time. Wind at his back. Titans kick it away with a 7-point lead. And out near the 20-yard line for Marmion Academy, that's Rob Boylan, the junior, 19-yard pickup.
I'm already thinking as a coach, I'm thinking about halftime adjustments because it looks to me like what it's going to come down to is whatever defense can adjust to the offense. Right now, this is an offensive game. I mean, the only thing stopping anything is a fumble. There's no one stopping anybody. And so, you know, whatever defense can make the adjustments will bring home the crowd.
Marmion keeps it on the ground this time. And that is Garrett Becker. with the carry, the junior. So look at the Cadets Road to Champaign, Thornton Fractional North, and then TF South in round 2, a 1-point win there. Beat Lamont in the quarterfinals, and then handed Danville their first loss of the season by 3 a week ago. The pass out to Lally, and he's out to almost the 35-yard line. TJ Lally can catch it, can run with it, he can pass with it too, Coach. 2 for 3
he can
passing.
Tackle it, run with it. He does everything but take tickets. I swear to God.
2 complete passes this season for 70 yards. This is a physical team.
Wow,
22 first downs already.
Oh, I know.
This is like arena football. Not much room there, and another fumble. Still loose. Still loose. Who's got it? Nobody yet.
Miller, I think, came up with it.
And it's Titans ball. Miller did come up with it that time.
Effort. Yep.
Oh, boy. Thing was rolling around all over the place down there, and Miller finally comes up with it. Take another look. Scolari had it knocked out of there. And look at it roll around. Like one of those, they try and chase the pig around and like a greased pig.
Oh my goodness.
5:38 to go, and a big chance here for Boylan to add to their 7-point lead. Here's Thomas. Lally in on the tackle with Carbonera.
He is lightning through the gap. I mean, his feet are so quick going through there. He slid from the center out to basically the left tackle position in no time, in 1 step. This is 2 series in a row for Semino, huh? He must have got bored.
Semino sees yardage there, sees an open lane, and takes it all the way down to the 6-yard line.
What's really difficult about defense in Boylan, again, is both quarterbacks are really good athletes. I mean, they'll take it on the scramble, they'll take it on design runs. That just stretches your defense so much.
It's like halfback and fullback, Coach.
It really is.
Semino's the fullback.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like a 2-back offense with, with 4 wide receivers. I mean, that's the difficulty from a defensive standpoint. Very much like the Oregon Ducks.
Tony's in there now at QB. And the handoff is to Einhorn. He's close to a touchdown, although they're going to mark it down just short.
Einhorn, a valuable little guy. He does a lot of things for him. He does them all well. Kind of an unsung guy there, but he's a very, very valuable guy.
Dan Apino says we want to establish our will on people, and it's hard to do that if you can't run the ball, and they have done a good job of that here. Semino with it. He might keep it. He does. And he's going to get in. Or did he? Yes, late indication. Touchdown, Frank Semino with the 1-yard run, and it's 26-13, Rockford Boylan.
Again, even though these teams look the same in terms of formations, the Boylan spread and the Boylan attack is totally different than the last 2 attacks we watched. As good as the last 2 were, they are not a pass first. They are a run first team.
Joe Rose on for the point after try, hooked the last one.
And Marmion has to keep their cool here. They're moving the ball at will, but they've laid it down, and they just got to settle down, secure the football, and get right back. They can't all of a sudden be a spread team.
And that fumble bugaboo is really something that's bitten Boylan this year. They had 28 fumbles and lost 15 and had 4 or 5 of them. It's Belvedere. Coach couldn't even remember they had so many.
No, the game is unfolded kind of in the reverse of what you might have thought.
Frank Semino doing a nice job saying hi to the fans. He's loving it over there. Big smile on his face. Oh, was he waving at the big screen maybe? Not any smiles there from Dan Thorpe. Coach Thorpe is an interesting story. He's won state championships in Wisconsin. He's coached at a couple different schools up there. Coached in Ohio a couple of times. He's been at Marmion Academy now for 6 years. Coach, his wife is in the museum industry, and she was the director of Shed Aquarium for a while.
Is that right? Well,
yeah.
I'll tell you what, you know, right now he's angry because he's really the game plan. Everything is there. He just can't hang on to the ball. And that's one of the most frustrating things from a coach. You know, you gain 10 yards and lay it down. That's really difficult.
Scolari, a little
reverse on the kick. Fake reverse.
Faked it. Scolari still has it out of the 20. He's got room at the 30 and is brought down there. Nice open field tackle by the kicker, Sean Slattery, out at the 37-yard line. 36-yard return for Nick Scolari, who had the football taken away from him a little while ago. That turned into 7 points for Boylan. Nice return that time by
Nice
Scolari.
return. He put it behind him. You know, you got to have amnesia as a player. You got to forget the last one and go on. He recklessly took that ball up in there, which I like.
And it was the kicker coming over. And the kicker is a pretty big guy now. Sean Slattery's 5'11", 175. That's pretty big for a kicker. Oh, and here comes the sack. Boylan with the sack. Mitch Edgecombe comes in and drops Bobby Peters for the loss of yardage.
You could just see that one coming. They tried to play action, but it didn't fool him at all. Didn't fool Edgecombe at all. He was coming off that edge, and he was on his way.
Untouched, loss of 6 on the play.
Yeah, Marmion just got to stay calm. I don't think they got to start throwing the ball a lot as well as they run it. A lot of football to go.
2nd and 16. Lally hops outside, avoids a tackle. He's out to midfield. Down to the 40. Steps out of bounds inside the 40 at the 38-yard line.
Feed the beast in that sense. You keep giving him the ball, keep blocking the edges. At the end of the day, you're going to have 1,000,000 yards. 31 yards on the pickup for the guy they call a bulldozer. And he did a nice job here avoiding a tackle right there. He's a bulldozer with a 4th gear.
They're not supposed to go that fast, are they? Bulldozers. We've got a man down for Boylan. After the punishing run by T.J. Lally, 111 yards already and a touchdown here in the first half. I'd be worn out too.
I think as a defensive back, he's your worst nightmare to see that 46 turning that corner. You're cheering for those guys up front. Please don't let him through there. But see, that's exactly what Marmion has to do. They've got to stay the course. You know, they don't look nearly, you know, occasional play pass is good for them, but when they're trying to make a living throwing the ball, they don't look at anything like the running game.
Coach, let's take a look at Friday's action from Memorial Stadium here in Champaign. 4 state championships awarded yesterday, and we begin in 1A. Lena Winslow with the victory, their first championship in any sport, as they beat Tuscola for the state championship in Class 1A. In 2A, it was Mike Paposi's Sterling Newman Comets with the victory, and I have to correct myself. It was career win number 252 for Coach Paposi. I don't know where I got the number I got, but Tim Wilson with the touchdown there, and another championship for the Sterling Newman Comets. In 3A, you were lucky enough to see this game live and in person.
Instant classic.
I was watching you on TV, Illini West.
It's an instant classic there.
Touchdown there, and another state championship for our buddy Jim Unruh. Congratulations to him. 4 state championships when he was head coach at Carthage, and then it was Rochester adding to the Leonard family tradition of bringing home state trophies, as Coach Ken Leonard, of course, the longtime coach at Sacred Heart Griffin, his son's team winning last night. There you get a look at those scores from yesterday's action here on the IHSA TV network. Coach, 1st and 10 for
back to unbalance.
Marmion. This is Scolari.
Scolari.
Pickup of about 5.
A lot of weapons for the running game. A lot of weapons. They'll use 3 to 4 to 5 backs in here and keep them all fresh. They had to give Lally a little break.
Scolari said after the semifinal win, this is something I've been looking forward to forever. It's unreal right now. And that's unreal. Both teams 150 yards rushing each, rather. Peters looking for Carbonera, and Peters took a heck of a hit that time just as he released the ball. It was Dean Lowry in there with the pressure for Boylan.
See, a team like Marmion, one of the things that people don't realize, one of the reasons that they don't throw it as well as obviously the other teams that are in the spread is that's not what their linemen practice. They're running team. And when you see Boylan gets a lot of pressure on the passes off the edge. You saw Edgecombe and then Lowry.
3rd and 6 for the Cadets. Give us to Scolari. He gets to the outside, has the first down and more. Down inside the 25 to the 23-yard line. Nick Scolari with another fine run.
Scolari is an exceptional edge runner. Right? He's deceptively fast. He'll turn that corner. He's got good pace to him, and he'll accelerate when he needs to get outside.
Boy, that's pretty good efficiency on 3rd down. Both teams perfect. It's 1st and 10 for the Cadets.
All right,
was that a little cross
there's
buck?
the wing back counter. That's the play.
That's Lally.
That's Lally. Again, he does it all. Runs the counter, runs the leads, and that's the true wing back counter. That's what we saw Illini West yesterday when they needed to win the game and they were struggling. They went to that play right there, which is the counter off the buck action.
Lally limping back to the sideline after that good run for him.
He may be hurting a little bit on that ankle, but I try to get him back in as fast as I could.
Talking to him over there. They need him.
Unbalanced now. Now they shift back over to balance. That's one of the little nuances for the running game.
2nd and 1. Give us to Becker. He's got room. Steps it back inside to the 10. It's a 1st down. As Marmion keeps the drive alive, we'll see if Lally comes back in or not.
Becker's very capable, very capable. Lally just gives you, like you say, very John Regan's-like. Just gives you that big, it's like tackling a Volkswagen. I mean,
that's a good description. 1st and 10 from the 11. Lally still on the sideline, getting looked over. Peters back to throw. Looking into the end zone for Scolari, and out of bounds. The fans for Marmion wanted interference, but it goes as an incomplete pass.
And that was another, that's the type of thing that Miller does such a good job of. He came out of the middle and actually affected that play on the sidelines. That's the kind of range that he has. Here's the corner pattern. Here comes Miller from the backside.
Look out.
C1 got all the way over there from the middle of the field. That's great range. I think he's going to be a real fine defensive back at the next level. Stack him inside.
Here's the pitch to Scolari, trying to look inside, nothing there, tries to bounce it outside, and brought down for no gain by the Boylan defenders.
Good pursuit by Zimmerman in there. Good pursuit to get to that ball.
Lally was not in for the last couple of plays. He's out on the field, and it looks like a timeout for Marmion here with 1:24 to go. 2nd quarter action, 27-13, Boylan the lead. Bring up 3rd down and 10, and Dan Thorpe wants to talk it over a little bit. It's a battle of the Dans. Dan Apino on the Boylan side. There he is, Dan Thorpe for Marmion Academy. And we mentioned earlier that they are colleagues, not just in football, but as counselors at their respective high schools. I'm guessing if you're a counselor at Marmion Academy, and 85% of the kids have to go through ROTC, and the other 15% do leadership. Probably not a lot of troublemakers there, would there be, Coach? I mean, a lot of counseling needs.
What you're telling me is I can spend a little more time on the playbook.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
Right
now we have 473 yards total offense here with a minute to go in the half. That's pretty impressive.
Well, I used to call Peoria Pirates games arena football, indoor football in Peoria, and this is not unlike that, except the field's a little
just
bigger.
Wider.
Yeah.
All right, Lally's back in there now. They mean business. They mean
probably
business.
fit that field into Wrigley Field. 3rd and 10. Here's the give to Becker.
Okay.
Now they're in 4-down territory right there, you would think. He's brought down short of the first down.
You got a 4th and 6. You gonna kick it?
Yeah.
Kick it.
Gonna go ahead and get their 3.
You know what? What's hurt them a little bit is that they've gone to some passing on 1st down, and I think they want to catch Boylan off guard, but it's just not their thing, and it's kind of got them behind in the count. I think it's actually played to Boylan's advantage.
And Boylan will call timeout and try to ice A.J. Friedman, the kicker for Marmion, who's 8 of 12 on field goals this year, kicked a 47-yarder earlier this season. That's a pretty good luxury at the high school level to have a guy to kick field goals for you like that. You don't see that a lot. We mentioned that Dan Apino was a freshman when Boylan went to state last in 1975 under your friend Ben Murray. He got 2nd place, lost to Deerfield. That was the 5A state championship game back in 1975. And Coach Apino said, when you're that age and you're at the state championship game, you think you're going to get to go back all the time. You're going to go back as a player, and the school's going to go back. It hadn't happened since 1975.
No, you have to seize the moment. I've heard Danny Marino say that when he, as a young kid, he lost the Super Bowl and always thought he'd be back many times, never made it back.
He's back here now as head coach.
Seize the moment. And they've been impressive, Lee. Boylan's been impressive.
Absolutely.
They decide they're going to go for it.
Now they're going to go for it. Trips receivers left. Lally is one of the receivers there. Carbonera in the backfield. Peters looking, throwing off his back foot, has a man in the end zone. Goodness. Touchdown. He was wide open. That's Nick Scoleri.
Yep.
Somehow they lost track of Scoleri, and it's a touchdown for Marmion. Somewhere my old college buddy Dutch Masters is loving that. He's a Marmion alum, played soccer with him at St. Ambrose, and his alma mater gets back within a touchdown here. That one, you won't see that on any coaching film. That looks like one of those ducks I would throw, but it got to the right place, didn't it?
Yeah, they sure did.
We talked about cross bucks and deer, and now we've got geese. I tell you what, ducks.
And now we got a 1-possession game. Got 47 points.
PAT is blocked. Boylan with the block. Now the extra points have been an adventure, and so have the offensive plays. Check out this. Peters just like flat-footed through it. It didn't look pretty, but Scoleri is wide open, and that is a beautiful sight for Marmion Academy. Here's the block PAT.
I think what happened, they got in a trips formation, and again, they had Lally. I think they had so much respect for him, they overplayed him in the middle, and the guy who ends up as the 2nd receiver, kind of the slot in between, ended up sneaking right through there for a touchdown.
2nd block PAT of the game for Boylan, and their lead is 8.
That's probably one of the reasons the coach thought about it and didn't go for the field goal.
So 41 seconds to go. There you get a look at the play, the drive rather, for Marmion as they get back within a touchdown and a 2-point conversion here in the final minute of the first half. Follow the bouncing ball. Boylan has it. Jerry Jones, the 4th. Carries it out. Boylan has scored on their last 4 possessions. And And they lead it here 27-19. Marmion trying to hang in there. That was an important score for the Cadets. Oh, wow! Oh boy, I didn't see that.
Out. That was a scary possibility there.
And the first down play for Boylan. Thomas with the run, pretty close to a first down.
Thomas right at 80 yards already in the first half.
Well, this is the kind of day that is going to help your stats if you're an offensive player, both sides. Frank Semino at quarterback has Thomas in the flat, cuts it back inside to the 40, still on his feet. Still on his feet at the 50, and then finally brought down at the 46-yard line after a pickup of 16. Boy, that was a great run. And we talked earlier about Thomas and Coach Apino saying that he is the guy, he makes the first guy miss, he makes the first couple of guys miss.
Yeah, his performance has been terrific in this first half.
Timeout, Boylan maybe thinking they could get it in the end zone one more time.
Yeah, I think they were going to play conservatively, let the clock run out. Thomas changed that really quick.
Ran through a lot of personnel there. Interesting thing about Boylan, Coach, the configuration of the classes, and they're playing for 6A, and they had 23 more students, they'd be 7A. You just never know where you're going to end up, and here they are in the 6A state championship game. 16 seconds to go, they might try and get one more score. Semino rolls to his right, looking deep, has a man, has to hold up for it, and he's got it complete to Charlie Fonts, number 13, the sophomore off the bench. They get the clock stopped for the first down to move the chains in high school. 9 seconds.
9 seconds with a timeout. They got 2 plays. No, it's clicking now. Gotta go. Gotta go.
Oh, the clock's running. I don't know if they know. I don't think they know. And
timeout. Okay, good.
Coach Apino calls a timeout. They lost how many seconds?
They sure
there?
did. They lost 7. Actually, they had a chance at 2 plays. I thought they might have taken. I thought they would take the timeout immediately.
Well, had they had a play ready, they could have.
Yeah, it's hard to reset on a long completion. You know, it's just very difficult because your quarterback's running 50 yards to the ball. But hey, you got a chance from the 6-yard line. Oh, we're going to kick a field goal. All right.
It'll be Joe Rose. He's 5 of 7 on field goal attempts this season.
What a big drive, Lee. I mean, you would have thought there with about 32 seconds that you were just about ready to go at the half. Oh.
Bad snap. Jimmy White, the holder, running for his life and denied. So the Marmion defense steps up there.
Yeah, and place kicks are an adventure for both teams. There you had a fumble snap. No one can make a place kick. That's really interesting for as well played as the rest of the game is.
Little trouble with clock management for Boylan. They are unable to take advantage of that last second drive to go to the locker room, but they take an 8-point lead with them after 1 half of play. The 2010 IHSA Football Championship brought to you by Country Financial.
We are here with Boylan head coach Dan Apino. Coach, you guys get shut out on that last drive, but the beneficiaries of a couple of turnovers there turned them into some quick points, and you got an 8-point lead heading into half.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have that touchdown that they got right before. I mean, but they're a really good offensive team, and we're just going to have to grind it out all 4 quarters.
Any adjustments that you can think of offhand that you'll need to make here in the second half?
Figure out how to get 3 more guys on the field to tackle Lally will be our first one, but we just have to be more effective on defense.
Coach, thanks a lot. Good luck in the second half. Dan Apino, his Boylan Titans up 27-19 heading into the third quarter. We are back at halftime of the Class 6A state championship game. I'm joined now by Tim Kiefer. He's the recruiting coordinator for the Inter-Athletic Council of Officials. Of course, this is the state championship for the players, but also for the officials too. A big deal for these officials to be here. And I know you want more officials involved in high school football as a whole right now.
Absolutely. One of the things we need in all sports, we need officials, not only in football, basketball, baseball. We need officials in all sports. And it is a great honor to come down here and work in a state championship in any series, not only in football, but in any sport. And we do need officials in every sport, and we really are happy that we are able to provide training as well. A lot of people think, oh, well, I'm just going to go and take a test and become an official. Well, no, there's avenues out there across the state to train officials, and we're here as officials to help train officials, so that way we can put the best product on the field that we can.
And maybe someone sitting at home watching this saying, I don't know if I have what it takes to be an official. It might be fun, but I don't know. What kind of qualities do you look for in potential officials to get them off the couch and involved?
Usually we're looking for somebody who just has a love for the game, wants to give back, wants to give back to high school sports. A lot of times you'll find somebody who's been a former athlete, maybe in college or in high school, and they're looking to give back, get back into it. It doesn't take a lot. It just takes some commitment and some time to get out there, learn the rules, enjoy it with the kids, enjoy it with the other officials. Camaraderie is there as well, and just have a good time. Anybody can do it.
Tim, thanks a lot for joining us. Really appreciate it. Tim Kiefer, the recruiting coordinator for the Inter-Athletic Council of Officials. We are back with more second half action after this.
And welcome back to Memorial Stadium in Champaign. 27-19, Boylan the lead over Marmion. Coach, not a lot of defense, but some pretty impressive offensive stats and plays in this first half.
Terrific offense, two different styles. Marmion, that meat grinder, run the ball, the buck series. And Boylan is as impressive as we've seen. Spread, but unlike Montini, unlike Rochester, run-oriented spread. So, you know, it's like you just said, Lee. I think the team that can come to grips with defensive adjustments at the half will be the team that ends up winning the ball game.
Let's take a look at some of our first half highlights from this ball game between the Cadets and the Boylan Titans. Frank Semino back to throw. And a nice play there to Einhorn. And here we go with the Cadets. TJ Lally, their monster masher, but this is Scolari with the touchdown run this time. And Scolari finds it a little rough going on the kickoff returns. Here's TJ Lally.
That is so Riggins-like, it's unbelievable.
I'm a Cowboy fan too, and I can't stand
almost that looked like the big play that they play 1,000 times on the NFL today.
Yep. But the unfortunate thing,
that's the difference in the game right now are the fumbles.
Marmion handing the ball over a couple of times and Boylan taking advantage. This is Tyrese Thomas with the run. A couple of nice moves there by Tyrese Thomas.
What a half for Tyrese.
And Bobby Peters finds a wide open Nick Scolari in the end zone as Marmion answers and makes this a 1 touchdown and a 1 2-point conversion game here at the half. Look at the total yards. 542 yards combined in that first half.
Oh my God. If anybody's cold at this one, you're not watching the game, because this thing is a shootout. It's going to be a barn burner. I think it'll be tight to the end. I think that touchdown at the end for Marmion was critical, that they got in there and got it. They keep it a 1-possession game, and you know, look for anything to happen in the second half.
30 first downs through the first half of action here in our 6A state championship. It's a shootout. We'll be back with the second half coming up. The 2010 IHSA Football State Championships are brought to you by Country Financial. Let's go down to Aaron Bennett. He's with the Marmion head coach.
All right, we're here with Marmion head coach Dan Thorpe. Coach, a big defensive stop there for you at the end of the half to keep this one within 8. And other than some turnover issues there in the second quarter, you guys looks like you're able to run your offense the way you want to.
We can run our offense, but we can't stop them. And then you play giveaway. We knew it would come down to turnovers. I mentioned to Coach when we talked before the game. And unfortunately, we're turning the ball over. But, you know, we got to tackle, too. We're not tackling at all. So hopefully that's our worst half of the game. game, and we're going to win the second half, and we think we can, come out and do it.
All right, Coach, thanks a lot. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Dan Thorpe, the Marmion Cadets, his team down 27-19 as we start the third quarter.
All right, Aaron, thank you very much. Both teams stretching it out down there, trying to get ready for the second half. We'll see just how TJ Lally is, and that'll be interesting to see, Coach. He looked like he had some kind of a little issue there toward the half, and boy, so important to that Marmion offense and defense.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I mean, they, the thing about it is both coaches said the same thing. We're not playing defense. So, as we said, when you went in at the half, there's got to be some scrambling, some adjustments, got to get back to some sound principles, although both of these offenses are really, really good. I mean, they're totally different, but very difficult to stop.
Let's take a look at the possessions for Boylan, and the punters haven't had much work today, if any. First quarter, they fumbled on their first possession, then touchdown, 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 touchdown. That's not a computer glitch where we just keep hitting enter. That's how it actually went, and then the missed field goal there late in the second quarter for Boylan. And it wasn't, there was one more fumble for Marmion, but not much different. I mean, they were scoring, they've got the 3 touchdowns in the first half as well. Marmion, trying to make it 2 straight state championships for the SCC Blue, Montini winning the 5A. Those two teams butted heads earlier as we take a look at the Marmion possessions of the first half. Marmion had a 21-0 lead on Montini. Montini came back to win that game 27-21 in overtime. You talk about that SCC Blue and how it prepares teams for the postseason. 5 playoff teams out of the conference, 3 of them went to the quarterfinals, and Coach said, if you're lucky enough to get to the postseason out of that conference, yes, it does prepare you for playoff football.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Now, that's certainly a game that I would pay to see, because again, in Montini and Marmion, you have really different styles, but Marmion is the type of team that can beat Montini because they can ball control, they can hold on to the ball. Obviously, they had some defensive problems there, and they're having them today.
They had some defensive issues against Boylan as well. Or check that, against Danville in the semifinals. That one will be an automatic touchback. Sean Slattery, the kicker, who made a nice tackle on a kickoff return earlier, sends that one into the end zone.
Well, Lee, that touchdown before the half was huge. They decided not to kick the field goal. They went and got the touchdown, even though they missed the extra point. That was huge. It kept them right into a 1-possession game. So now they come out and they should operate, with their normal offense, just like they want to do. Again, they'll create a lot of formations to get running game going. Here comes Lally back in motion.
He's back out there, but the give is to Becker. He has room to run across the 25 to just across the 25-yard line, just shy of the 26.
That's the interesting thing about Lally. One down, you see him carrying the ball, on the outside, on the perimeter. The next down, he's blocking. He's the lead blocker in the hole. I mean, that's double duty.
You wonder maybe if he's nursing a little injury there, and maybe he will be more of a blocker in the second half. It'll be interesting to see how things work for Marmion here. Bobby Peters on 2nd and 4, and the give is
again
to
that was Becker
not
again.
Carbonero, it was Becker that time,
again.
out to the 35.
And they'll change it up. Becker's a very accomplished guy, very quick off the ball, bursts through the hole. Again, a lot of little nuances there. They created a little guard tackle slot, opened up a big hole up in there. A lot of little subtle things happening on both sides of the ball. Real good coaching things.
Now, what do you call that formation?
Well, that's an old full house tee. That's the old Woody Hayes tee.
Stolarity tries to get outside and nowhere to go. Boylan's defense all over him.
Big loss.
I was going to say full house, but I wanted to make sure we got it right.
James, hard to get on that edge against now. He does a good job out there. Good athletically, plays the run.
Sam James, all conference. Dean Lowry, number 44, out there being recruited by Illinois, Iowa, and Nebraska. Number 44 in green on the Boylan defense. 2nd and 12. Here's Scolari to the right side. He's out near the 40 where he's brought down, pickup of about 6.
Marmion has managed to do a pretty good job of getting it back on 2nd down. If they get a little behind the count, and most teams really are in trouble there, their running game is so good they've been able to get it back manageable. You're in a 3rd and 5 now. You're very manageable down here.
Becker and Scolari in the backfield. Little reverse to Lally, and he loses the football.
Oh my goodness.
And it's recovered by Rockford Boylan. Chris Miller on the recovery.
The guy the unsung hero on that play was Lowry, the guy you just talked about at the right end. As the play went away, he stayed at home and was able to force that reverse back inside, back into the traffic. You'll see it happen here on the right. Here's Lowry. He doesn't make the play, but he gets the counter turned back in.
My goodness, that's the 2nd fumble for Lally today,
yeah,
and that is just
incredible. Yeah,
very unusual for him to lose the football. Looked like somebody got a hand on it. Maybe pulled it out of there. Player down for Boylan is Sam James, who we just spoke about, the all-conference lineman. Here's our Country Financial game summary, and there's a lot to recount. 200 rushing yards for Marmion, but now 3 turnovers on the Cadets. Boylan 320 yards total offense, and I thought I was right. No punts in the first half.
No.
Unbelievable.
No, you can leave the punter at home today. I mean, really, I mean, honest to God, the differential is one thing, is the turnovers. You know, at the end, and at the end of the day, it normally is the difference maker.
Absolutely. How many times do you hear Bears coach Lovie Smith talk about about winning the turnover game? James limps off for Boylan.
Well, we'll get into that in a minute. Okay, back to Semino now. Here you go. Spread.
Yep, Frank Semino at quarterback. He's 5 of 6 for 74 yards throwing. Here's the give to Thomas. He's got room, 1 man to beat outside. Here comes another defender trying to catch him, but he won't. Into the end zone for 38 yards out is Tyrese Thomas with his 2nd touchdown run of the game.
Thomas has taken this game over. He has put on a show today. And Boylan does such a good job. They spread it out. They open you out. They make your defense and linebackers loosen up, and then they jam you in there with Thomas.
Thomas is well over 100 yards now, 120 yards with his 10th rushing attempt, and nobody could catch him.
I'm not sure anybody's capable of getting him down one-on-one today. I'm not sure. You don't cluster him, you can get him down. He's putting on a show.
Joe Rose the extra point, and it's 34-19. The Titans of Boylan take the lead. You may have heard the Kenny Chesney song, The Boys of Fall. Well, at Boylan, it's the boys and girls of fall. 6 conference championships this fall alone, first ever in volleyball. We talked about the 3A boys state soccer champions from Rockford Boylan, and they're looking to add to that trophy case. Of course, they will here today, but they'd like to bring home that state championship trophy, and they now lead by 15.
They have a great program. You know, I have 2 nephews that graduated. Boylan High School, a tremendous program. It's almost amazing to me that they haven't won it since '75. That almost is mind-boggling to me, as good as that program has been over the years in all sports.
2nd place in 1975. They beat St. Charles, Rock Island Allman, and Villa Park Willowbrook. And then it was Deerfield with the state championship win over the Titans back in 1975. Short kick picked up there at the 25-yard line for Marmion. Matt Lally, sophomore brother, we assume, of TJ. And look at the points off turnovers, 20-7 in favor of Boylan.
And Marmion's got to shake it off, Lee. They're very much in a game. 15 points, 2 possessions. You know, they move the ball extremely well. They got to have amnesia. You got to forget the last series. You got to think about just play by play now, play by play. And they got to go down and get a score and get right back in, keep the pressure on the Titans.
TJ Lally comes off. Scolari and Becker in the eye, a little confusion there in the backfield.
Little mishandling there on the eye,
runs into his back. Scolari.
See, Scolari hasn't played in the eye that much. That's mostly been Lally, so that's a little bit different for him. Not as comfortable with that.
Marmion maybe not used to this, coach. How tough is it, you know, in a game like this? I mean, 15 points isn't that much, but still, you're a Marmion team that is not used to maybe being down.
No, that's exactly right. It isn't that much if they keep their cool, but psychologically there is a barrier there. As a coach, you got to talk them out of it.
Peters trying to throw, being chased down and tackled from behind, and the sack for Rockford Boylan.
The passing game, in many respects, has really hurt Marmion today. They haven't been successful with it, and what happens, it gets them way behind in the count. The unsuccessful passes has gotten them behind in the count. Now you're looking at 3rd and 15.
Zimmerman with the sack.
I'll tell you one thing. I don't think you just don't want to give that ball up to Boylan. If I'm the defensive coordinator of Marmion, I'm praying for this conversion. Nope.
Peters nowhere to go.
Not going to get it.
And another sack for Boylan. That's Mitch Edgecombe, who had a sack earlier in this game. That's his 2nd of this ball game, as the Boylan defense steps up here with TJ Lally on the sidelines for Marmion. Their leading rusher out.
Marmion has a really tough time protecting the edges because it's just not their style. When they get in a game where they have to throw the ball now, it's a little bit different world for them. You run block all day, and then, you know, it used to hurt the Ohio State, Michigan teams of my vintage because they were really good run teams, but when they got behind, you know, and they had to throw, they just weren't adapted to protection. That's Miller. That's another explosive guy. Great
first punt of the game right there. Chris Miller with the return for Boylan, and they lead it by 15 here in our 6A state championship game. 2010 IHSA football championships are brought to you by Country Financial. IHSA championship football is brought to you by Country Financial. What's your idea of financial security? Lee Hall, longtime NFL coach, and head coach Rick Venturi with you from Champaign. 34-19, Boylan with the lead and the ball now. And it's Tyrese Thomas with a couple of touchdown runs, a nice run there. He's over 120 rushing yards now in this ball game for Boylan, and it's Tony back in there at quarterback, Frank Semino, and Tony splitting time at the QB position for the Titans.
And Boylan now has added the extra guy to the box. They've added the extra guy to try to come up with something with stop Thomas.
Ball tipped at the line, falls incomplete. Boylan 13-0 this year, 21-3 the last 2 seasons. They were in the 7A state playoffs a year ago and lost in round 1 to Wheaton North.
2 downs, really.
Here's a little reverse. And it's Einhorn with the first down run for the Titans as the clock winds down here in the 3rd quarter.
At the end of the day, that Einhorn will make tough yardage for you. He's a tough wingback.
He can do it either way, Coach. Running,
really,
catching the
really
ball.
Can.
Week
Very
8 against Auburn. Week 8 against Auburn, 2 touchdown runs and a catch. Here's a little shovel pass to Thomas, and nothing doing that time. As Marmion comes up with the stop, Mike Shares, the linebacker, with the tackle. Lally is out there defensively, Coach, but he's played sparingly since limping off late in the first half after that touchdown run on offense. Pressure from the backside and a sack. Scolari comes from the weak side on the blitz.
All-out blitz.
He caught Tony, and Tony had no idea he was back there.
Coach Thorpe knows he's got to make a stand here. He's got to get something done. Got to get something done, or else you're going to fall behind in a tough situation.
Well, here he comes. Here he comes. Oh!
Yep. They blitzed front side with Lally and back side with Cimino.
Tony complete.
Oh.
To Miller. And Miller down around the 21-yard line. Miller had 2 touchdown catches in their playoff win against Cary Grove. That one went to overtime.
Good call. See, they got it back into a possible, they got it into a make-it situation, 4th and 6. When you look at the inside of that defense, you've got Miller, you've got Thomas, okay, and Einhorn. You've got 3 guys in there, okay, that are really big-time football players, along with a quarterback, with either quarterback who can really go.
Right, and Coach Apino talking about the quarterback situation says there's no quarterback controversy. We did it in 07 and reached the quarterfinals. We couldn't pick this year. Neither guy stepped up. It's not a biggest deal, he thinks, in the spread offense. And, you know, it's a hedge against injury. There's a pass picked off. Marmion with the interception, coming up with the big defensive play. That's Scolari with the interception for the Cadets.
That's a huge play right there. They had to stay within 15. Scolari really is a good football player. Good on offense, good on defense. Sometimes I think his quality is a little bit is understated because of Lally's talent and Lally's numbers.
Scolari moved to defensive end earlier this year for a game against Mundelein and had 6 tackles for a loss at defensive end. We saw him on the sack. He looked like a defensive end on that one.
Well, now the defense has decided to play a little bit. I do think one thing that Marmion found there, but they're going to have to score points. They're going to have to score points. But I think the one thing they're going to have to do is they're going to have to blitz it like they did in that situation. You're just not going to stop Thomas today with a straight defense. It's just not happening.
Lally with the carry that time. Maybe the turnover just what they needed here. They sure needed a stop. That's for darn sure.
That's for darn sure. They got to get it out of here, but they still, you know, you still got 16 minutes.
Becker finds a little room up the middle, out to about the 25-yard line.
They just got to quicken up the pace now a little bit, Lee. They got to be a little bit more sense of urgency here. You don't have to change your style, but I think you have to change your pace in this sense.
Sense of urgency wouldn't hurt the Cadets with 4:20 and counting here in the 3rd quarter, down by 15. Here's Becker again. And I'm just guessing that TJ Lally, there's something just not quite right.
No, I think that's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. You know, you're not seeing him. The fumbles are so atypical of him. That's not his game.
1st and 10 for the Cadets. They send Becker in motion. Peters tried to go with a little quick hit there to Carbonera, but Carbonera wasn't ready for it. There you see the hands up. You see the hands up. Peters took a big hit too.
Throwing the football, they're just not in sync like they are in the running game. It's just not.
Not today. Peters has had good throwing games.
Had good
Montini,
throws.
he had 6 completions on that game-tying drive. 2nd and 10, that full house backfield we talked about earlier. Carbonera, or check that Scolari now with a give to Carbonera, and he runs out of bounds after a gain of a couple. And when you rely on a guy like TJ Lally all year, and he's not out there. It makes it a little tougher to move.
There's no difference. You know, you can look at even in the National Football League, when you lose your #1 guy, #2 and #3 get stressed, and all of a sudden maybe they can't match up to what you want.
Lally back on the field, but he hasn't been in the backfield in the second half. He's starting from that end position. Peters looking to throw, has room, throws deep, but nowhere near the intended receiver was Garrett Becker.
2 out of 3 passes there. Tough.
A little more defense here in the second half, and Marmion unable to move the ball. They'll have to punt it away here.
That's two series in a row where the defenses have stood tall. 4th down stop by Marmion, and now a big series by Boylan. Big series by Boylan.
A.J. Friedman to kick. He averages 35.5 per punt. It's Miller to receive. He'll call a fair catch and take it at the 39-yard line after a punt of 30 yards. 3:35 left in our 6A state championship third quarter. 34-19 your score. The 2010 IHSA football championships are brought to you by Country Financial. 34-19 the score. Dan Apino's Boylan Titans with the lead with 3:35 to go here in the third quarter. They have the ball in the lead. Frank Semino fakes the handoff, keeps it himself, and takes it across the 40 to the 42-yard line.
That's a nice little counter. What they do is they fake the ball to Thomas, and obviously the way he's running it, he's going to attract people, and then Semino goes the opposite way with the guard. Again, think of it as a 2-back offense in the spread. Now here comes the Oregon option right there.
They don't waste any time, do they? Tyrese Thomas with the carry. He's near a first down. Left tackle Mike Nora talks about the Boylan offense. You said this earlier, same kind of thing. He said we have a huge toolkit.
Oh, do they ever?
Oh my gosh, they've got everything.
Do ever? I would just bet that the fans here watching this that haven't seen them play are that they may be the story of the tournament. I just think the way they've been able to move the ball. I saw it on film, but it looks even better today in person. 3rd and 1. This is a tight formation. Oh,
and
big
brought
play.
Down behind the line of
Big
scrimmage.
play.
Big defensive play by Marmion coming up there. There's TJ Lally. He doesn't look like he's hurt on that play.
I know, and he doesn't. And maybe I think it's just so much to ask a kid to play 60 minutes and to be the primary player every single play on both sides of the ball. I mean, that's just amazing. Sometimes, you know, you outsmart yourself. You get in short yardage and you tighten the formation. That's always been my pet peeve in pro football, when people tighten the formation and give the defense a chance to really load up.
First punt of the game for Boylan, a little bit high on the snap, but Garrett Stroop gets it away and fumble. Scolari fumbled it. And the whistle before he could run it in.
Marmion
he was
just
down when he recovered it.
They've played a lot of great football out there, but they've just imploded with the football. They just haven't had the ball security, and at the end of the day, the turnover battle will always beat you.
Called for the fair catch and couldn't control it. I'm still not sure why they whistled it dead. You can't advance the muff. Okay.
Now they're back to open formation. They're much better in the open formation.
Thomas still churning the legs at the 15.
Thomas is at 133 and counting.
So another Marmion miscue.
He is. He's elusive with it.
Marmion unable to hang on to the football to make any kind of a comeback here. Tony the handoff, and there's Shares with the tackle.
Again, this went from an offensive just explosion, And all of a sudden the defenses are hanging in there. I'm looking for Boylan to fake one of these runs and have that quarterback on that read to the edge. Not so much on 3rd and long, but that read is there. That quarterback bootleg off that action is there because Marmion is closing like heck now on number 20.
46 first half points, only 7 here in the 3rd quarter. Semino held on to it maybe a little too long, now scrambles and gets it off. And it looks like a completion to Tyrese Thomas. What a catch.
What a catch. And what a throw, getting out of trouble.
Oh, yeah, he was
great out of trouble. Throws a dead run to his left. Missed the sack.
Yep.
On the run to his left.
Boy. Evasive maneuvers by Frank Semino in the backfield for Boylan, and that will end the 3rd quarter. The defense is making a little noise here, and yes, Boylan ready to play all 4 here today. 34-19. Our score after 3, the 2010 IHSA Football Championship, brought to you by Country Financial. Welcome back to Memorial Stadium. Lee Hall, former NFL head coach Rick Venturi in Champaign, 34-19. It's Boylan with the lead on a nicer day than we had yesterday. Yesterday was a little blustery. That was
what a sharp little move. Got him to jump, first down.
Little shift there by the Titans.
Critical error.
Dan Thorpe looking for answers down there. He's won everywhere he's coached too. 62-18 in Janesville, Wisconsin. 27-23 in Warrensville Heights, Ohio. 16-14 at Notre Dame Cathedral in Ohio. And 38-23 at Marmion. Lally with the tackle.
He just keeps balling it. Doesn't matter. He just keeps balling it.
Yet he hasn't, I'm not sure. I think he has maybe 1 carry in the 2nd half.
If they stay in that full house, a play they've scored on in this area of the field is a counter sweep to Miller coming off of this side. Just watch it. Just watch for it. They've scored on that play before.
Tony at quarterback. He's going to throw it.
Oh,
a leaping catch. Dean Lowry, the junior, off the bench with a great catch. The pitch from Tony, the catch by Dean Lowry. Take another look. 16 yards on the completion.
I thought that thing was in the seats. That's amazing. That's Lowry's been playing defensive end up in the trenches. Goes up and makes a circuit catch, a Keelan Winslow catch.
Frank Semino now in at quarterback. He hands it off to the up man.
Oh, God, they're pounding it out.
That's Matt Ventimiglia, number 24, was it? Yes. Ventimiglia in for the first time, 5'9" senior. That's the first time we've called his name today.
That's amazingly, you change quarterbacks on the 1-inch line.
Well, you got all kinds of different guys coming in.
It doesn't make any difference.
Ventimiglia.
It doesn't make any difference. Here's my play. Right,
Tony with the give to Chris Miller for the touchdown dive from a yard out. Finally, somebody we know.
Yeah.
40-19, Boylan takes the lead.
That was inevitable.
Lots of interchangeable parts for Dan Apino and the Titans. And it's Joe Rose for the point after. But Boylan Titans large and in charge now, up 41-19.
I really like Coach Apino's philosophy, though. I don't know that I could handle it because I think it's tough to handle the 2 quarterback deals. But I worked for Mike Ditka once when Coach Ditka coached the Saints, and I worked 3 years for him. And Mike always said, you know, they'd ask him if he had a quarterback controversy, and he'd always say no because I treat him like the rest of the team. You know, sometimes I think that we overanalyze that, we worry too much about that, we get all hung up on those feelings. Boylan just runs them in and out and scores touchdowns.
Well, I could see. How would you pick between these 2 guys, Coach?
Oh,
I mean,
they found the rhythm on that. My hat is off to them totally. My statement was it happens so fast. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I could handle it if I was coaching them. But God, do I like watching
How about trying to defend against them?
Oh yeah, that's a nightmare. You know, I don't. You know, and you know they do it so fast. I mean, they change on the run. It's magnificent. Such a well-conceived offense, though, that attacks you so many places, that appears to be a 1-back spread that is really a 2-back offense. I mean, that's a subtlety that unless you're a defensive coach and player, you don't realize how tough that is.
There was holding on the point after try, so this point after will come from the 19-yard line. A 29-yard point after is also up and good by Joe Rose, and it is again 41-19 Titans.
And how about our boy Lowry coming out of nowhere and making the circus catch down there to get him in there?
I mean, I'm looking all over. Number 44. Thinking Ken Reitz of the Cardinals. I can't find 44.
I know. Yeah, he's been laboring out there. You know, he made a great defensive play earlier and helped force a fumble. And he's been, you know, he's been one of their top players all year long. But all of a sudden, just to make a great circus catch.
That's pretty good stuff.
The Titans need to go down and stop them one time here.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, they need to not give up big plays, you know. And the thing about Marmion can get a big play on the run. You'll think you got them backed up, and they'll bust a run.
Two touchdowns rushing for Thomas, 2 rushing for Semino. And Miller adds one there. That kickoff is going way deep.
That's going to Urbana, that one.
Is it legal to kick from one area code to another?
I don't know, yeah.
Take a look at the second half possessions for Marmion. Fumble, punt. Boy, far different from what we saw in the first half when it was touchdown, 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 touchdown. Fumble, punt. Just 24 total yards in the second half, and the absence of TJ Lally in the backfield has really hurt the Cadets.
Boylan's loaded on the run here. They really
there
are.
He is. Now he's at tailback. A little change up. Uh-oh.
Speaking of the big play.
Well, what happened to him in the third quarter? That's the question.
You got to ride that one now. Now you got to
19 yards.
Your season is 10 minutes long, and you're down 3 possessions. So
19 yards. When you get home, or if you're at home, and you get a chance when we're done talking, go to YouTube and type in TJ Lally. You will see a play that he made earlier this year against Marion, an unbelievable run, and Peters is dropped behind the line of scrimmage.
Lowry.
Yep, Lowry with the sack.
MVP of the fourth quarter right now. Again, Boylan has gotten really good edge pressure. That's the 4th sack of the day off the edge. 2 off of the left, 2 off of the right.
Lally broke about 7 or 8 tackles on that touchdown run. If you go to YouTube and type it in, it was the play of the day, too, on Channel 1 News, which is a national thing for high schoolers. And the pass complete to Scolari out at the 43-yard line from Peters. And Peters is one of those kids Coach Thorpe says he brings plays in written on napkins or pieces of paper. You know he's watching college games and analyzing, not just watching. He understands the game back there as the senior quarterback for the Cadets.
No, he's been a really good quarterback. He's been the ball handler. He's been the field general with all those guys. The toughest things of the day has been put in a situation where they have to throw, and they're just not adept at that as they are the rest of the game.
Boylan brings the pressure that time. They didn't get the sack, but boy, they made it into a hurry that time.
You know, I repeat, the toughest thing for a predominantly running team to do is all of a sudden have to throw the ball, because it's just not what you practice. Usually a good running team like this is going to practice their run 70% of the time in practice. So, you know, they're not adept at the little nuances when the blitzes come, when the edge pressure comes.
Austin Smith, the junior, with the pressure that caused the hurry that time. Trips receivers left on 4th and 6 for Marmion.
Open now.
To Carbonera in some space. And he's very close to a first down.
Close. This is all about the spot. I think he eked it out.
Marmion's, of course, pointing for a first down. I think they may have to measure. Boylan says no.
All about the spot. Now the sticks are right there, so you should get an accurate. It looks like he's got it to me.
Your eyes are better than mine, then.
41 years.
That's not saying much.
41 years having to have the next defense ready in 35 seconds.
Maybe that was it. Look at that guy. Look at that.
Got it.
Calling it from, geez. How heck high are we anyway? 8 stories up, and you're calling the first down for the nose of the football.
I cheat. I actually call the game from up here. A real game.
1st and 10, 49-yard line, 9:27 and counting here in the 4th quarter of the state championship game. And nice defensive work that time by Marmion, or check that, by Grant Flodine for Boylan. He had 3 fumble recoveries against Prairie Ridge in the playoffs. Said, I'd never picked up a fumble and run with it. It was scary to see me with the ball, but it was very, very exciting.
And Grant is the leading tackler on this team. I mean, he's a good football player all year long. Again, good job by Boylan with this lead, keeping that ball inside and in front of the defense. Keep it inside and in front.
Carbonera with the catch there. Brings up 3rd and 8 for the Cadets.
5-3 stack. Let's see if they come after him. Nope, they're going to cover here.
Peters fakes, looking for somebody, doesn't have anybody, and threw it late to Lally, who dove for it. Yeah, there was
really good coverage.
They were covered everywhere.
They wanted to get the out and up over here, and both number 4 and Miller over the top on the wide out. Again, with the lead like this, again, inside and in front, you trade a little space, okay, for time here. Now, big one here for Boylan. Bigger one for Marmion.
4th and 8, 8:32 to play. Peters gets rid of it quickly to Lally. Caught at the 35. Still on his feet at the 30. Still moving. Don't lose that football. He's had a tough time with that today.
They won't die. Good job by Peters. Good job by Peters.
Pickup of 21. All the way down to the 28-yard line. TJ Lally with the reception.
The best part of their passing game is right in those seams. And again, Lally does something else.
And we haven't seen him throw today. He has done that this season.
He has done it. He has done it.
1st and 10 from the 28 for the Cadets, trailing here 41-19. Peters looking left. Boy, there's a lot of coverage there.
A lot of coverage there.
Tried to hit Tommy Rogers. And a 6A title game record, coach, both combined for the most first downs. They are at 39 first downs combined and counting. We've still got 8:01 to play. Backs in the eye. Lally is back there now. And Now here comes the throw. He wants to throw it, but he can't. There's nobody out there, and he's brought down. Well, we told you he could throw it.
You called it. He was ready to go with it. I just wonder how long it takes him to recover after a game. It's just amazing to me that the punishment he's got to go through.
You know, he is a tough kid. He put the shot at state last year. I mentioned that YouTube play. Really, go look at it. YouTube, TJ Lally, and he broke about 17 tackles, it looked like, on that one play. Peters to throw. If he can find anybody, he tries to scramble out of there, but nowhere to go. And tackled by Matt Ventimiglia, the senior. We called his name. He just was down there in that short yardage situation on offense.
4th down.
The other guy we haven't talked a lot about, Coach, is Nick Rader, the nose tackle. He's a nose tackle and a valedictorian at Boylan. You don't hear that a lot together, nose tackle and valedictorian.
As a matter of fact, that's a first for me.
All right, it's Boylan with the passing grade to this point. 6:53 to play. Boylan with the lead. The 2010 IHSA Football Championships brought to you by Country Financial. 4th and 13 for the Cadets. Might be their last gasp here. Thrown behind and picked off. Zimmerman with the interception for Boylan. And a return of 20 and the 5th turnover of the game for the Marmion Cadets.
You really got to hand it to Boylan. They really come in here to play the game. They turn that defense around. The second half, they played really tough. They've been opportunistic.
And a flag after the play, a little extracurricular activity on the completion of the play. And there you get a look at Bobby Peters, and been a rough afternoon for him. They
really has. Yeah,
Boylan right in it at halftime, and then second half, things changed a little bit.
Boylan has made a statement that, you know, the last 3 games that we've watched here, different variations of the spread have been as good a football as you're going to see, as good offensive design as you're going to see in high school or college football anywhere.
Personal foul.
And you got to put Boylan right up in there, Lee. You got to put Boylan right up in there with the Rochesters, the Montinis.
Offset, first down.
Offsetting personal fouls, and it'll be first down for Boylan with 6:56. And they are just working the clock now and getting ready for a celebration on the green sideline.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, they got to load the box now. They got to get them all up in there on Thomas.
Frank Cimino at quarterback. What a day he's had. 6 of 7 passing, 82 yards. And he rushed 7 times for 46 yards and 2 touchdowns. And we saw that kind of production from him earlier in the season in week 4 as Thomas
just keeps grinding out.
Take another look at the interception, Coach.
Really good job. It's good coverage, good undercut. Everybody's contributed on that Boylan defense in the second half. You mentioned Rader, now Zimmerman. I mean, there's been a lot of good football played out there.
Tony now at quarterback. He'll be back next year for the Titans.
Yeah.
Little quarterback sweep there, maybe.
It's been a long time, you know, since it's obviously a long time for Boylan, but it's been a long time for the city of Rockford to be able to celebrate a state champion football team. It's great for the city.
Well, Rockford 3 for 4 in the finals, Coach. Boylan lost in 75, but then Rockford East won in 74 and won again in 85, and Rockford Guilford in 82. So yeah, it's been since 1985.
1985.
The city's had a football champion.
That's exactly right. The food will taste good at the Olympic restaurant on North Main there, which happens to be my brother-in-law Tom Rotello's place. So they'll be celebrating there tonight.
My girls go up there to play soccer. They always talk about the clock tower up there.
Oh yeah,
Everybody knows what the clock tower is.
Spent a lot of wonderful days there. Had a champion in our own right. Had no playoffs, but we had a champion in 1961, undefeated at Rockford Auburn when I was a sophomore.
Oh, what a hit on Thomas as Semino keeps it himself. Gets back near the original line of scrimmage. Boy, Thomas took a hit.
The amazing thing is the defender got up slow and he had a clean shot at Thomas. Thomas is like a little rock in there.
Yeah, he's jogging off. Take another look. Boy, Thomas got leveled. Was that Lally with the hit? I think it might have been. Yeah. Mr. Everywhere.
Run that quarterback boot off this thing. Fake it to Thomas and take it.
No, the give is to Thomas.
Give is to Thomas.
He takes it up inside across the 50 into Marmion territory. Well, the thing for Boylan, Coach, they were kind of always the bridesmaid, never a bride. They lost to the state champions in the semifinals 4 years in a row in 91, 92, 93, and 94. In 91, they lost to Mount Carmel. 92 as Wheaton Warrenville South. Same team in 93, and then lost to New Lenox Providence in 94. Boylan to punt. Oh, that's the best punt we've seen all weekend. High spiraling punt. Bounces inside the 5 and
play.
Down inside the 1 yard line.
Boylan's kickers have been incredible.
Wow.
They're incredible. Like you say, the best punt of the weekend.
Garrett Stroop with the punt, and great job by the Boylan special teams to down it inside the 1. 41-19. Those folks are going to have a fun night tonight. The 2010 IHSA Football Championships brought to you by Country Financial. .430 left before the Boylan celebration begins. Marmion down on the scoreboard and down inside their own 1 yard line.
Well, actually, there hasn't been much that we haven't seen in this game, and that just kind of topped it off. We saw a great punt finally. Haven't been that many to watch.
Well, we've had a lot of action. Becker with the reception that time for Marmion.
Marmion's they're gonna kick themselves after this ball game. You know, they came here to play a good game, had a good game plan, but they just shot themselves in the foot. You just can't turn it over. You can't turn it over in any games, but in big games, when you're playing a good team like Boylan, it's just not gonna make it.
5 turnovers for the Cadets in this one. There's the pitch and catch to Phil Clock, and he has nowhere to go. We talked about Rockford and the teams from Rockford and state finals. This is only the second team from Aurora to make a state championship game. We saw Aurora Christian back in 2008, and they lost to Bloomington Central Catholic in the championship game in that one. Don Beebe, the head coach, the former wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills. Here's Lally. We didn't get many carries in the second half. He gets a first down on that carry.
Yeah, the Boylan defense has picked it up. Of course, you know, now they've got Marmion in a one-dimensional game, and Boylan's speed and quickness really comes into play now.
Peters with the throw, has a man with the completion and close to a first down. That's Tommy Rogers, the senior, with the catch.
Good job of keeping him in bounds. Again, keep it inside and in front.
Tony Perello with the tackle there. First and 10, under 3:30 to go now. 7A state championship football coming your way next here on the IHSA TV network. Peters looking outside, and nice coverage there. Nice defense by Adonis Brown.
Adonis Brown. I tell you what, they've all contributed. You've gotten plays out of everybody on that Boylan defense in the second half.
Nice play by the 6-foot junior Adonis Brown into the ball game now. Boy, it's been tough. We've seen it way too much this weekend. Teams that have obviously had great seasons that they wouldn't be here, and then just come up short and losing by 20, 30 points. Something we saw a couple of running clocks yesterday.
False start.
That's tough. You got to feel bad for teams that have had such great years and then come here and make it all this way, and then it doesn't happen.
There's no doubt about it. And you know, I would have picked this one to go either way. I like both offenses very much, but I would not have picked a big spread on this game. I don't think that I saw that 22 points, but that's, Lee, what turnovers will do to you. But your point was never better taken than the end of the Illini West Stillman Valley game. There was ecstasy and agony, as the old saying went, that I've never seen in my life. It was exhilarating in one hand, and it was absolutely touching to watch those kids from Stillman Valley who have never lost a game. I mean, it was incredible.
What a great program that is. I mean, every time
you can't get a seat at practice there.
Every time that they play the state championships down here, it seems like Stillman Valley is here. Just a little over 3 minutes to go in our 6A state championship. Peters picked by Perello, and he'll take it to the house, 30 yards. Perello had an interception and a pick-6 against Addison Trail in round 1. He gets another one here today. And that's the proverbial icing.
That's the icing. Well, Boylan has taken over this game. There isn't any doubt about it, and just had done a great job.
6 turnovers for the Cadets.
Actually, in the last 3 games, you've seen dominating champions on this day, which is the important day. Dominating champions in 3 games in a row.
Joe Rose, the extra point, and it's 48-19. The guys in green are, well, hopefully Friesen was worth it for them, because they're going to celebrate a state championship with their Titan football team here today. And Dan Apino, you look at the record coach, he took over in 2002, and they've really only had one down year. They were 8-3, then he was 10-2, 4-5 in 2004. But then here's the run since that season: 7-4, 10-2, 11-1, 10-1, 9-1, and 13-0 here today. So one loss, those 1 losses were all in the playoffs, unbeaten regular seasons. Now,
they've had a very good program, but because they haven't won it all, you just sit under the radar screen. So, you know, today is the breakout day for Rockford Boylan and all of Rockford.
They're getting ready to ambush their head coach. Apino, a 79 graduate of Rockford Boylan, played tight end and linebacker. He was the defensive coordinator at Boylan from '96 to 2002 when he took over as head coach. A little trouble on the kickoff there as Scolari picks it up, and he's brought down at the 18-yard line.
These are just great moments to be cherished by these kids. They'll be unforgettable. Again, I've had the privilege of coaching in most venues, in every venue, and winning the state basketball champion in '64, being a champion in 1961 as a kid in high school. I remember walking off those fields like it was yesterday. Those memories are fixed at that stage in your life. You know, because, you know, in this stage, in this situation in high school, you represent your buddies, you represent your neighborhood, your school, and your city. I mean, there's just nothing like it.
Right there, get that ball. Right there.
Coach Apino has really put this thing together, though. This was a machine today. It's a machine on offense. And then defensively, they made the adjustments at the half. You know, they played hard, they got the turnovers, and at the end of the day, that's what wins and loses games.
6 turnovers for Marmion, and unable to dent the end zone here in the second half. Yeah, it didn't look for a while there like either defense would stop the opponent's offense, but Marmion unable to get it going here in the second half. TJ Lally, their leading rusher, for one reason or another, did not spend much time at tailback here in the second half.
Yeah, you know, and
offensively that hindered them quite a bit. And
the nature of the game got them a little bit away from the running game, and frankly, that's how they're going to win. You know, they're not at this stage not going to win throwing the ball. Only they can win it as a complementary throw, not as a primary way to go.
Dan DeBartolo is the quarterback now as Coach Stork goes to his reserves, and Nick Andrula, number 24, a 5'7" junior, with the carry there for the cadets.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Let these kids get a little taste of this big show before they go. These are going to be good programs regardless. These programs are here to stay. So, you know, whatever happens today, if you're on the short end of it, you learn from it and you go on. A tough pill for those seniors. You know, it's unforgettable for them too.
And Dan Thorpe talking about changing the culture at Marmion Academy, preaching the same thing, commitment from the players, go to weightlifting, make sure you come to camp. And he says that always wasn't true in the past, and we just keep stepping forward. And this is a huge step today, a little bit of a stumble once they got here, but you know, this is the kind of thing, you know, how often do you see it, Coach, in whatever level, in whatever sport, where a team gets to a championship level and they fall short, but then that's the step that they come back maybe in the next year or two and they are able to build on.
No doubt about it. It's a growth at every level. We see that all the time in the National Football League, the team that just makes the playoffs and then a game better. You know, very seldom do you make the huge jump. Right. You got to go through the stair step.
Now Boylan was able to make that step, but you see it a lot, and of course the faces and the names change in programs, whatever level it is.
I think what was interesting about Boylan is, like you said, though, they've been in the hunt, but they haven't been able to just get there, and they kind of came in under the radar screen compared to, you know, some of the teams that we've talked about, and they stamped this one. They always say autograph your performance, and they autographed their performance today. They signed in with a really, really good day.
And we've talked a lot about family today in football and coaching, and it's all in the family for the Apinos. Dan Apino's dad was the PA announcer until this season. His brother took over. His brother takes care of the coaches' headsets. His nephew Jacob is the ball boy as the punt is away and covered there by Boylan. Mike Magnuson, number 27. His son Patrick was on this team and was an all-state linebacker in '07. He wasn't able to come here and enjoy this with his father today because he's playing in an NAIA playoff game for St. Xavier. Coach Apino has another son, Danny, who's a sophomore on this team. So it's funny how, you know, that happens in basketball and different athletics as well, but very prevalent for the Titans football family, as they are going to pick up a win, ranked 5th in the final poll, and they are #1 where it counts, right here.
Where it counts.
On the turf in Champaign.
That's the magic of the boys of fall, as the song goes.
Yes. Kenny Chesney with that.
Which incidentally
that
is worth anybody's. If anybody getting the hour CD is worth it. Trust me, I get chills when I watch it, to be honest with you.
The DVD, and one of the players in our first game. There's the shower for Dan Apino. How can you know that? He's like, I don't think he looks very happy about it. But how do you know that's not coming, Coach?
There it is. There's a little smile.
You guys.
There's a little smile.
I tell you why I oughta. It was Eric Kerr from Glenwood that you're talking about, that DVD. He had the DVD and invited all his teammates over, and Glenwood got here to stay and said, that taught us a lot about teamwork, as you see the team in green celebrating the first ever state football championship in Boylan High School history.
Fabulous day for Boylan in the city of Rockford.
And think about what Dan Apino, what's going through his mind right now. A freshman in high school, he saw Boylan come to state and finish second. Now here he is as a head coach over 30 years later, and he leads them to their first ever state championship.
Only could happen in high school football. It's just a magical moment for everyone. You know, and they came out, they deserved it. They came out and basically dominated the game. I think they surprised everyone, but they didn't surprise themselves. They were obviously ready.
Well, Dan Apino just got surprised, and he didn't look too happy about it. Hi, Coach. Congratulations. Oh, and that's not the Gatorade shower where they have the water in the Gatorade jug. You hear that a lot, but that was actual orange. Might have been G2, but he'll remember that for a while. There's the two-headed quarterback leading the way for the Boylan Titans, Frank Cimino, Lamont Tony, and there's a smile from Dan Apino as he leads his alma mater, the Boylan Titans, to their first ever state championship win.
I've been just thrilled, you know, at watching. I'm into style. Obviously, I made my living with X's and O's, and to watch the tremendous coaching in the last 2 days. The design, but the discipline and the development of kids has just been terrific. You know, to see these last 3 games and to watch the spread offense played in different ways that you see on Saturdays, you know, in the biggest arenas in the country was terrific.
Frank Cimino shaking hands and ready to enjoy it. What a day he had. 2 touchdown runs, 6 of 7 throwing, and the disappointment, of course, on the other side with the cadets from Marmion Academy. 48-19 our final score. Rockford Boylan wins their first ever state football championship. They add it to their 3A soccer championship at state earlier this fall. We're back with more from Memorial Stadium. The trophy presentations after this. The 2010 IHSA football championships are brought to you by Country Financial. Boylan Titans ready to celebrate their first ever state football championship. And Coach, we talked earlier about Coach Apino talking about establishing their will on people, and you can't do that if you don't run the ball. But look at the offensive balance for Boylan. Look at those numbers. 213 yards rushing, 202 passing. That's almost 50-50.
Yeah, this is just a state-of-the-art offense, and the reason I say that is usually when you watch the spread operate, you watch a shotgun, it's all pass, and sometimes as a defensive coordinator you can say, okay, you know, we can do this, we can blitz it, we can do this, because we're not worried about the running game. In this case, this is very much, and I say this with all complimentary intent, they're much like the Oregon Quack Attack in college, who I think is the state-of-the-art collegiate team in the game today. They basically do a lot of the same things. The quarterback becomes both the quarterback and the tailback, along with the great use of Thomas. Just a terrific design. The other thing, Coach said he knew he had to play better defense in the second half, and they did it. So they adapted, they adjusted, and they went on.
Very interesting to see the two similar philosophies, but how Montini runs it is a little bit different. It's a little more heavy pass. They run maybe just to keep people honest, although they were able to run the ball today. And then you, like you say, Rockford Boylan, more even. They're more of a run-based spread.
I don't know that people realize that when you talk about spread, it's that there's a generalization. You know, you basically think shotgun, you think of open formations, but there's really 2 defined, distinct schools of thought on it. One, and it really revolves around how do you use the quarterback? Is he a passer first, an occasional run, or is he a run threat at all times with the ability to throw? And that's the difference. When you look at Rochester, when you look at Montini, who are great in their own route, they are basically Texas Tech, Missouri, pass the ball first, occasional run at quarterback. Here with Boylan, they're going to establish the quarterback as a runner. He is another back in the backfield, which now stresses the defense to an unbelievable limit, because you're spread all over the field, but you're defending two backs. That's the difference. I'm trying to simplify that, but in reality, that's what creates the issues.
The cadets of Marmion Academy accepting their medallions for a great second-place finish. This is only the 11th playoff appearance for Marmion Academy. Dan Thorpe bringing them for the third time. They made the 6A playoffs in 2007 and again in 2009. Lost in round 1 in 07, lost in round 2 a year ago, and here they are today playing for a state championship. So a great job by Dan Thorpe, who's had success, as we mentioned, all around the Midwest in building football programs, and this is a huge leap forward for the cadets to make it to state, and it'll take them some time to put it in perspective, but that building a program is what Coach Thorpe is talking about, and people will look back maybe in years to come on this team, and boy, these guys were the ones that made that first step and really established us as a power in a very tough conference that they played.
Yeah, and I think that they'll look back on this game and they'll have some regret, because it really was a game of turnovers. You would have liked to seen them stay in their normal course of events. I think it would have been a shootout. Whether or not the outcome would have changed, maybe it's 48-47 instead.
It was a shootout for a half.
It would have been, I think it would have gone all the way, but again, against an opportunistic defense like Boylan played, and against an offense that you're going to have to score like hell to stay with, you can't afford to make the mistake.
And Boylan will accept their state championship trophy. That's the second state championship trophy of the fall. 3A soccer state championship, and now the 6A state football championship. And I can only imagine what's going through Dan Apino's mind. And I mean, I can remember my freshman year, and you know, he remembers that 1975. I'm guessing that 5A game was probably played at Northwestern. Was it played at Northwestern in 75? You know, were they splitting? Because I know they used to split the classes. They played 2 at Northwestern and 3 at Illinois State. Irregardless, this one's played in Champaign and owned by the Rockford Boylan Titans, their first state championship trophy in football.
You know, this is a little bit like climbing Everest. I mean, it's taken a long time. It hasn't come easy. They built a really good program there, but they had to get over the top. You know, and there's nothing like this elation. You know, coaches, players. Football, as my dad used to say, is an against-the-grain sport. It's not something that you just go out and do naturally. It's hard, time-consuming. Coaching staff works basically around the clock. So the satisfaction in winning is overwhelming. Believe me, it's just overwhelming. You know, when you climb a mountain like this one, you get all the way on top, you win in Champaign, Illinois for the state championship. I don't know if it gets any better than that.
And could Dan Apino ever, as a freshman, ever imagine in his wildest dreams, as he watched Boylan lose in 1975 when he was a freshman, could he ever imagine it would take this much time to get back and that he would be the head coach that led them here? That's just quite a story. The connection of Dan Apino on the bookends of the Boylan football legacy that's added to here today.
And I think, you know, what'll happen, as Sean Payton so well said in the CD, as he reflected back, coming back from the Super Bowl to the hotel, there's a point after the elation's over, and when you get to yourself and you're all alone and you reflect, and I will guarantee you he will remember that moment he was a freshman like it was yesterday. Yeah. There's no doubt in my mind, because those are moments you don't forget. And then to climb, like I said, to climb the mountain, and you said it's a family affair, to come back, you know, to your alma mater, to coach it, to go through the ranks as assistant, and to reach the heights. It doesn't get any better than that.
He was a boy of fall in 1975, but in 2010, he is a man at a state championship for the first time in Boylan high school history. Congratulations to the Boylan Titans on their state championship. Congratulations to Marmion on their second place finish. The 2010 IHSA Football Championship brought to you by Country Financial. Back at Memorial Stadium, Rockford Boylan is your 6A state football champion. Aaron Bennett caught up with the head coach moments ago.
We're here with Dan Apino, head coach of the Rockford Boylan Titans. Coach, it's been a long time coming, but your Titans are now state champs. What's that mean?
You know, it's one of those feelings that's probably going to stick around too long. It'll probably hamper what we're trying to do in the offseason. But for right now, it just feels awesome.
1975 was a long time ago, the last time you guys were here. A lot's changed since then. This program's come a long way. Something today maybe you can build upon for the future here for this program?
I think so. I think our kids see that, you know, we've got a lot of different ways they can contribute on the field, and even when things go bad, you don't necessarily quit on yourself. You just keep working.
Coach, thanks a lot. Congratulations. Dan Apino, head coach of the Rockford Boylan Titans, your 6A state champs.
All right, thank you very much. Congratulations to the Boylan Titans. What a run they have made, and Dan Apino's done quite a job with that program. But typical coach. This is going to hamper what we do for next. He can't even enjoy this one, really. He's like, this is going to hurt us in weightlifting next week.
Yeah, exactly.
But a pretty impressive performance by the Titans.
Oh, it really is. My congratulations to Boylan, to the city of Rockford, which was one of my stops along the way, a place very dear to me. And I can only say thank you to you, Lee, to Dave, to everyone who invited me up here. It's been an honor. Illinois high school football has always been a big part of my life, and it was just a thrill to be a part of it again.
It was exciting for me. Like I say, I knew your dad, I know your brothers, but to finally meet the famous Venturi brother, that was a joke, John. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from this football game. It was a turnover play game for Marmion, and you hate to see that out of a team that's had such a great season, but really, Boylan stepped it up defensively in the second half and shut them down. T.J. Lally put the ball on the ground, and it was, I believe they ended up with 6 turnovers in this ball game, and that you're not going to win any games.
No, you're not.
At any level.
It's just not going to happen, and you know that if there will be a regret, that'll be the regret. You know, and again, credit goes to Boylan. They forced a lot of them.
Right.
A lot of them weren't unforced errors. They were forced turnovers. They were strips. And, you know, so it's winner take all. That's what it comes down to.
And Boylan just so effective with those twin quarterbacks. I know as a coach that kind of drove you a little bit nuts because you kept saying you didn't think you could handle it.
I'm in awe of it, to tell you the truth. I'm just in awe.
Samino and Tony were just
magnificent.
So good, and here's another turnover and Boylan took full advantage of it, and not sure that it would have made much difference in the outcome because Boylan was very impressive here today.
They sure were. They were. They deserved it. I think they made a statement. They probably are the surprise of the two-day event, simply because I think they came a little under the radar screen. And, you know, they played as well as anyone. They made a huge statement today.
And by my count, Boylan is now 21, 30, 44, and 3 the last 4 season. So that tells you about the program that Dan Apino is building.
It does, and you know, now that will be basically certified. That's certifiable now with the championship. You know, all of a sudden the regular, all of a sudden now gets even magnified.
All right, congratulations to the Titans. Coach, thanks again. We've got 7A football coming your way, coming up next here on the IHSA TV network, brought to you by our friends at Country Financial. Yeah.